This video will deal with the restrictions on an angle and the restrictions on x in an algebraic expression within an angle. So as we see here, the angle to the right is acute, meaning it is between 0 and 90 degrees. Its measure is 10x plus 20. Always write out the figure and put these on there so that we can see it. 10x plus 20. So now, let's call this angle A, just to name it. So the measure of A must be greater than 0 and less than 90. Notice it's not greater than or equal to 0. It's not less than or equal to 90. It is greater than, less than, because you cannot have an angle with a measure of 0. That's not an angle. And a measure and an angle with a measure of 90 is a right angle. So it must be greater than, less than. So now so those are the restrictions on the angle. Now let's find the restrictions on x. So 10x plus 20 greater than 0, less than 90. Now remember again, in algebra, if we have an equation, say 2x equals 14, we do the same thing to both sides, divide by 2, divide by 2. As an aside, having nothing to do, so I'm going to do something off to the side here to remind you on some, so I'm going to do something off to the side here to remind you of some algebra. It pertains to this problem, but it is not this problem. Remember in algebra, let's say I have 2x equals 14. You do the same thing to both sides, and I get x. Some people have a bit of trouble looking at a compound inequality because you have three things. As an aside, let's do some algebra over here. Different problem. Yeah. People often have people often mm, students often have trouble dealing with three things in an inequality. So let's jog our memories on algebra. Let's say I have 2x plus 7 equals 21. You do the same thing to both sides, minus 7, minus 7. You do the same thing to both sides, minus 7, minus 7. So 2x then equals 14. Divide by 2, divide by 2. X equals 7. Remember, we do the same thing to both sides. When we have three things with a compound inequality, you do the same thing to all three. So minus 20, minus 20, minus 20. So negative 20, less than 10x, less than 70. Now we're going to divide everything by 10, divide by 10, divide by 10, divide by 10. And we have negative 2 less than x less than 7. As we generally do, plug it back in to make sure. If x is negative 2, 10 times negative 2 plus 20, that's negative 20 plus 20 is 0. That works. If we plug in 7 here, we get 10 times 7 plus 20. 10 times 7 is 70, plus 20 is 90, and that works. If you're having trouble with this compound inequality and the algebra with it, just remember you do the same thing to everything. Just like in an equation, we do the same thing to both sides.